What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today, we are breaking down our top takeaways, winners, best fits for the Philadelphia Eagles in today's Senior Bowl. We're looking around for the box score. We can't find one just yet. If one comes out, we'll put it on the screen. Joining me, as always, he is Ryan Reis at Philly Sports PSA. What's good, Ryan?
Not much, man. Ready to talk a little Senior Bowl. We've been excited for this game for the last couple of weeks. This, like I've been saying, this is the kickoff to the draft process. And now that we've gotten this big first hurdle kind of out of the way, it's really time to dive into some serious analysis for this upcoming draft.
Yeah, man, we're here. Like we're heading towards the end of February, getting ready for the upcoming combine. The Senior Bowl is like where a lot of people make a lot of money. Like Tank Dell last year and Keanu Benton, and we're going to get into all these kind of things, but the score doesn't really matter. This was a defensive battle. If you want offense in this game, this wasn't the game for you. Oh my gosh. It was riddled with at times poor quarterback play. We got the full Joe Milton experience today, where one really nice throw. And then on the next possession, throws a terrible pass that gets picked off. There was a couple of those, but I'll throw it to you first, man. What was your top takeaway from the 2024 Senior Bowl?
Yeah, as you said, it was a defensive game. I mean, there was a couple of really nice plays for interceptions. I thought the pass rush overall was really, really good. I thought the linebacker play, in general was pretty stood out to me. Again, I think across the board defensively, I thought there was some really nice plays and really nice, players that probably rose their stock today. Offensively, not so much, as you said. The quarterbacks weren't the greatest, although Spencer Ratliff certainly had himself a better day than any other quarterback. I thought the tight ends as a group did really good. I thought they were kind of more of the safety valve for those quarterbacks, and in turn, had a lot of targets. So especially Theo Johnson from Penn State, I thought he did pretty well as well. Overall, it was wasn't the most exciting game, as you said, but I thought there was some good takeaways from this game. Hey, what's up, Daniel?
We have Daniel in the house. Yeah, if you're an Eagles fan and you're looking for defense, this was the game for you, because I thought a lot of the defensive players had some big moments in this one. But top takeaways, it was kind of disappointing because heading into this one, all the top prospects pretty much were sitting out of this game. That list included Michael Penix Jr., who had a really good week, Roman Wilson, who was a star of the week, Jacob Cowing, a really good slot wide receiver, Quinyon Mitchell, arguably the biggest winner of this week, who's rising up the draft boards, Kyrie Jackson, a boundary corner from Oregon, Ricky Pearsall, another slot receiver. Peyton Wilson didn't play. I was really excited to watch Peyton Wilson. He's one. Brendan Wilson, who tore it up, Laiatu Latu. The list goes on. Even Siani Vaki, a guy who's a giant wild card in this draft. Is he a safety? Is he a running back? Is he a special teams core guy? Is he all three? I don't know, but he did it for Utah. But anyway, let's get into our biggest winners. For me, it's got to be Spencer Rattler. In a game that had a lot of poor quarterback play, whether it was Sam Hartman or Joe Milton or what have you, I thought Spencer Rattler really played well. This guy's tape is filled with tons of inconsistencies, but he was really good all week and today. He had a touchdown pass that was really strong, a really nice throw, and the physical traits are all there, man. Like, you got to think that, like, if he goes to the right system, obviously him as a game manager, him going through his progressions, all the little things need to tighten up for sure. The mechanics, he throws on his back foot way too much, gets rattled by pressure too much. But man, if he gets some NFL coaching, he could be a really intriguing guy. He's a guy that I think went from like day 3 to day 2 these past 7 days. So he's definitely a big winner. Who's your biggest standout?
Yeah, I would say Cedric Gray, linebacker out of North Carolina. I thought he had an exceptional day. I thought he was around the ball quite a bit. There was one play where quarterback made a great throw, dropping a pass in, and this guy, I don't know where he got the hops for this, but he jumped up, running backwards, was able to tip it away. What an amazing play! But yeah, he was kind of all over the field, and this is a guy that I think probably was in that mid day 3 range. But man, I wouldn't doubt it if he moved himself all the way up to a potential end of day 2.
Yeah, man, his athleticism was on full display, especially in coverage. And you nailed it at the start of the show. Like the linebackers were really good in this game. Cedric Gray, he's kind of raw, but like he was a fun tape watch for sure. I'm excited to see where he goes. Like I think you nailed it. He's definitely probably a day 2 guy now. Another guy that I think is a bit underrated has kind of climbed the ranks. He was maybe a day 3 guy, but is Jarvis Brownlee Jr., a cornerback out of Louisville. He was awesome this whole week, and he had an interception, albeit it was a pretty easy pick. The throw was literally right in his hands. But I got to give a shout out to Jarvis Brownlee Jr., 5'10", 183 pounds, but he plays a lot bigger than his listed weight and size, especially in the run game. He even got Sauce Gardner's attention this week, which is really interesting. He had an interception, 6 pass breakups, a fumble recovery in 2023, but he can play outside, he can play slot, and he's really physical. Definitely your typical like guy that can get a little grabby. But anybody else that kind of caught your eye?
Yeah, I think I had mentioned it. The tight end from Penn State,
Theo Johnson.
Theo Johnson. Yeah, I thought. Obviously we don't have the numbers right now, but I felt like he was being targeted all day and just making catches. I mean, there was one catch early in the game where he really high pointed it and took a nasty hit immediately, but held on to the ball. And that certainly helped them, during their drive. But yeah, I thought he was just somebody that is a reliable pass catcher. And, I think he showed that for sure that, he can be that in the NFL. Quick, 10-yard passes right there, hold on to the ball, secure first down. So, he definitely kind of solidified what I had already kind of thought of him, but it was great to see it in a more of a national all-star type way.
Absolutely. Another guy that I thought was interesting coming into this was James Williams, who is a safety linebacker prospect out of Miami. Just like Joe Milton, we kind of had the full James Williams experience because on one play he does a face mask, and then on the very next play he sacks Sam Hartman. I believe it was Sam Hartman. I could be wrong.
I think it was. Yeah,
I don't remember. But anyway, like that's a guy that's extremely raw. It's a guy that probably might move to linebacker in the NFL. He's 6'5". He's this hybrid defensive back. But yeah, plays much better when everything's put in front of him against the run. He's physical, but not a fluid athlete. We have Ryan chiming in. Please talk defense. Oh, and not defensive line or pass rush guys, coverage guys, linebackers, and secondary guys. That's what the Eagles need all around the defense. Sure. Absolutely agree, Ryan. Again, we don't have the box score, so we're reacting to this live.
I'm still refreshing my screen here to see if anybody has officially come out. But to Ryan's point, I will sort of get off. I know he wants to talk about linebackers and secondary, but who I thought had a absolute great day was the defensive edge from Florida State, Fisk.
Braden Fisk.
Yeah, he was again. I think in these type of games, when you see a player, or either his name being constantly called or him constantly being around the ball, that is such a great sign. And man, Fisk was putting on some pressure all day. It seemed like every chance you looked around, he was involved. So yeah, he's another guy I think really improved his stock for sure.
Yeah, Mr. Rudy Poo chimes in, says Cedric Gray. He was, I think, our number right among the top of our biggest winners of the day. I thought if you want to talk about secondary, Ryan Swope, Tyke Smith out of Georgia is this nickel corner defensive back dude. Small, of course, but I felt like he was all over the defense today, making hits behind the line of scrimmage or in coverage. And then this guy, Shao Smith Wade out of Washington State, might have been the MVP, but after Spencer Rattler, because he had 2 picks, and one of them was like an 86-yard return or something to the 2-yard line. It was awesome.
And that's the thing. It's these All-Star games kind of play by different rules. So I think that was the one where he kind of dove backwards to make the interception, which in college football, you're down. But it took him a second, and he popped right back up and he started running. I'm like, wait a minute. And sure enough, man, he got himself all the way on the right sideline, cut it back, literally got tackled at the 1-inch line right as he was diving for the end zone. Clearly ran out of gas after running for 90 plus yards, it seemed like. But awesome. He was definitely a guy I think probably not many people knew. And sure enough, certainly probably jumped a few rounds just play alone,
A lot of money, man. These guys can definitely make a lot of money in this. And I'm watching this highlight here as he was returning. Oh no, that's not him. All right. So there were a lot of interceptions today.
There were, weren't there?
Real quick. We saw all right. So first quarter, we had a touchdown pass by Spencer Rattler. Then we had a Bo Nix touchdown pass to Brevin Spann-Ford, who I really like as a red zone threat. That's a really interesting name. 6 foot, like 7, like he's a monster.
Yeah, Minnesota.
With some wiggle too. I like him a lot on that day 2, day 3 range. What else do we have? We had, I'm reading my notes. Sam Harton with a lot of bad plays.
Yeah, he did not help himself. That is for darn sure.
Second quarter, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. had an interception. And then we had Shao Smith Wade with a couple of interceptions. That's all I'm seeing. But anyway,
one player I did thought had probably a golden opportunity to really cement himself, and I don't necessarily think he hurt himself.
It's sorry to interrupt you, but it's just announced that Shao Smith Wade was the player of the game.
Oh, was he? Oh, there you go. Okay. No, that's nice. So I'm glad they gave it to non-quarterback. Tez Walker. I thought, man, he had the opportunity. He had a lot of nice deep balls thrown his way, and unfortunately couldn't reel any of them in. Email Bailey.
I'm not sure who you mean, Rudy Poo. Who is that?
Yeah, I don't know. You might want to email them yourself, but no, yeah, I just thought I don't think he necessarily hurt himself, but man, he really could have been a star for today had he brought in some of those long passes. It was the first play of the game. They did a little flea flicker to him, and right in his hands, just couldn't reel it in.
No, yeah, he definitely left a lot of yards on the field. Sucks too, because I'm a big fan of Tez Walker.
Same.
And his story is crazy, where he fought the NCAA to get back on the field, and a lot of craziness with how he was not eligible because he was helping his grandmother, and she was really sick, and the NCAA doing the NCAA thing. He was able, but because of that, he missed a lot of weeks, and he got on the field and was dominant with Drake May. It was night and day. I'm not trying to rhyme here, but with May and Tez Walker on the field, that offense looked immediately better. But Bo Nix, I'm still not on the Bo Nix train, man. I've been very vocal. I like a lot of people talk to him about him as like a mid first rounder, late. I don't see it. I don't buy it. He had a really bad week. He's not even hitting guys in stride, which is like his bread and butter on those short intermediate passes. And he did have the touchdown throw to Brevin Spanford, but even that was ugly.
Span had to make himself a play to get to reel that one in.
Luckily, his catch radius is like the size of my house.
Right. But he literally was going one way, had to adjust completely and go low just to reel that one in. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't necessarily see it, but I'm pretty convinced that some team will be desperate enough to draft him in the mid first round, somewhere in that range, maybe early 20s. But yeah, I don't necessarily see him as anything special. I don't necessarily see that he couldn't do well in the NFL. I just don't see anything other than a guy,
Mm-hmm.
So
all right, and then so those are our biggest losers. So Senior Bowl is wrapping up here, man. Like, let's just real quick. Like, if you had to pick one or two guys who you think are the best fits for the Philadelphia Eagles, like, who would be your guys from everything we've learned the last 7 days?
I think Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah,
he has really solidified not only his first round status, but he may have even surpassed where the Eagles are picking.
crazy.
And that I think I just put out my first official mock draft of the season yesterday, and I did have I believe I had the Eagles taking Mitchell after the week he's had. Now, he didn't play in the game, but he was by far one of the standouts this entire week. And it fits. He could come in and immediately start across from Slay, really kind of, give Slay one final year, take over as the number one guy. And then you have so many, young corner prospects for the Philadelphia Eagles. So as much as I've been pushing for a safety in round one, I just think it's more of a fit. It's more of a value fit as well, where I think some of the safeties may not be draftable that early.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's kind of my guy for the Eagles right now. And, I would be rather happy if they went with him in the first round.
There's even buzz of him being the CB1. I was reading.
Right. Which I'm like, all right, well, if he completely gets drafted early, that means somebody's pushing back. So maybe Wiggins, maybe it's Kool-Aid, maybe it's Arnold. There's still a couple of really good corners out there that, again, I think would be rather decent fits for the Philadelphia Eagles. So
I agree. I love Quinyon Mitchell. I've drafted him to the Birds several times. You got to love the hype machine of the NFL draft, man. It's
something special, man. Isn't
it? Pigs 76 says Anisiani Vaki signs. He did not play today, so unfortunately, he was among the top of my list to watch because he's an interesting player to begin with. Like, he's a safety, running back, dual threat kind of dude, where his running back tape is actually really good as a receiver, especially. And then as a safety, he's probably a day 3 guy, but I thought Sione Vaki should have went back to school for another year. I was surprised to see him enter his name into this draft. I like Tez Walker, still high ceiling player. I'll tell Davis would absolutely love Tez. He's still right outside of my top 10 wide receivers. I'm not going to knock him. Look into Stiggers, the Toronto Argos cornerback. I will. I don't know who that is. I don't know. Ryan says Eagles' first 4 picks need to be defense. Can always find a lineman later. But this is Howie Roseman. So you never know, Ryan.
Yeah, believe me, Ryan. I know I've certainly seen you in the comments of some of our other shows, and you obviously know how we all feel about this too. Yes, I think the defense should be the focus. I think I would be a little upset, and Dives, I'm sure you'd be pretty upset too if they went with an offensive tackle. It seems a year or two early,
Oh,
but yeah, I just think you need to fix your defense now. And a lot of people are like, oh well, they did this in previous years or they did that in previous years. Well, guess what? I don't think we have the luxury of kind of taking those type of picks where you can, yeah, well, let's just take more linemen or we'll take more of that. No, you need to draft exactly for what your team needs right now. And you don't have the luxury like you've had in previous years because you have a lot of holes. And yeah, I agree. Like I think defensive line is important. I don't think it's top 3. It's probably 4th for me. But you need to get a couple more edge players as well. So
yeah, and we've talked about this so much on this show. Is the only thing I'll say is like after you get past like Chop Robinson, there is not a lot of edge rushers in this class, and what arguably one of the biggest winners. I have a video on him coming out right after this, but Darius Robinson, an edge rusher out of is climbing up the boards now, considered a first round pick.
Yeah,
but 6'5", immense athlete. Has all the one of those tools guys that seems to those guys always seem to kind of climb up the boards at this time of year. We had a great week. Make sure you keep an eye on Darius Robinson because I fully agree, Ryan. Cornerback, safety, linebacker, but it is what it is. How he always seems to have his eyes 1 to 2 years down the road.
yeah. I mean, you're right, but like I said, I don't know if we have that luxury.
I agree. You're in a win now
Right.
window with Jalen Hurts. You got to put
100%. And listen, I think outside of D tackle, because I do think that D tackle is probably your most complete positional group.
They still could add someone there.
They could certainly still add some depth later, but like early picks, you need to go defense. And you go anywhere, honestly. Go anywhere you need to go. And I agree that edge drop off is pretty severe. And a lot of mock drafts I've done, I've gotten to the point where maybe I've gotten one in round 1 and that first pick at 50 because that's right about where it starts to drop.
Yep. I fully agree.
Cedric
Gray. He was our biggest winner of the week of the game. Just after this, just rewind it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Cedric Gray. Rudy Poo says, I'm believing the Latu hype, how he's going to fall in love. If he drops that far, man, I think he's the number 1 edge rusher in this class and probably a top 10 pick. Assuming the medical is clear. Latu has got it all, man.
Yeah, I don't see him falling our way.
No. That would be an amazing selection. I'd be
fine with that. Yeah, there's a couple of edge guys that I'd love for them to fall our way and grab one of those guys. But again, there's still a lot of time before now in the draft, so a lot of rankings and kind of values are going to change. But yeah, I just feel like I think probably I'm thinking safety has kind of pushed its way out of being able to be taken at 22. I just think the top 2 guys are probably right at the back end of the first. So unless you trade back, I think you need to concentrate on other positions. And yeah, again,
I'm doing it every year. I do it. Is like I really want Cameron Kinchins.
I believe you. He is.
If you pass on them and they're not available in round 2, I'm going to be
that is the thing. I would love nothing more than to go something like Quinyon Mitchell in the first. Kinchins kind of fall a little bit, and we trade up to like 40, 42, 43, somewhere in that range. Grab Kinchins, and then we stay at 54 and draft Trotter. Yeah.
That's awesome. Rudy Poo says the only offensive lineman I'd be okay with Howie taking is Fuaga. Talise Fuaga out of Oregon. He projects as a right tackle. He is a huge
big guy,
baller in the run game. Terrific athlete. Again, I have like a top 15, top 20 grade on him. The one guy I would watch, however, is Jackson Powers Johnson, who is my number 2 winner of the week. Just watch it. I had the video dropping right after this post-game show.
Yeah,
Just watch it. When you see this guy,
I know exactly some of the clips you're about to throw on there because, man, I saw some things and I could understand our co-host on Birds of the Round Table, David. I understand why he loves him so much.
Dude, he's a monster. He looks like a man among boys. He's that good. He's a center. It's what it is. But he can also play guard a little. Ryan says we don't need edge rushers. It would be great.
Who's our edge rushers right now? Honestly, you have old man Brandon Graham, who's probably coming back, but outside of him, you have Josh Sweat, who arguably had his worst year of his career, and you have Reddick, who is on the last year of his deal, right? Who's gonna want a lot of money.
Yeah.
Who do you have in the pipeline? Who's going to be in that rotation? I mean, no offense, but Brandon Graham didn't have a great year and is going to probably continue to fall off. So who else is there besides the 2 guys you got?
At the end of the day, it's always best player available. It's all about how the board falls. So I'm never going to just throw edge rusher out of the position. Like if Latu is sitting there, absolutely you take him and we throw a party on Broad Street. Intended. So I disagree, Ryan. No, I just at 22, if Brian Thomas is still there, Brian Thomas is my number 4 wide receiver in this group. He's a stud. That would be an interesting selection. I think wide receiver 3 is a huge need.
It is.
He's a great talent. The wide receiver class, it would probably disappoint a lot of people that want defense. But I would be okay with Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's a beast.
Yeah, I think it would definitely depend on who's still kind of sitting there. But yeah, I wouldn't mind a WR3.
I just don't see Howie choosing any small school guys. They did meet with Quinyon Mitchell, just to be fair. Not that it means anything, but it's going to be SEC all the way. I agree, as it has been. Difficult to draft a center in the first round, but JPJ is a dude. Rudy Poo says he's not getting past the Seahawks or the Dolphins.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I had Graham Barton as my interior offensive lineman
number 1,
but I might be looking kind of.
I think in my one that I've been kind of slowly putting together, I think I might be there with you now, putting Powers ahead.
Yep. Reese, focus on adding main defensive guys that can cover first, add full-in guys. Again, it depends on how the board falls.
I'm not necessarily gonna say, I'm gonna reach for an edge guy. I think if one of the top edge guys that should have gone a lot earlier are still there and fall to us at 22, absolutely, it needs to be in the consideration because I think at this point, adding any defensive player it should be a priority. But again, Brian Thomas is sitting there. That's something that needs to be considered too. They're outside of quarterback, offensive tackle, running back, linebacker, because I don't think there's a first-round linebacker or a first-round running back. I don't think there's any position that needs to be completely taken off the board.
Yeah. And I will say there's a lot of slot guys that I really like mid-round that should be available, like Malachi Corley, who had a really good week, Jacob Cowing out of Arizona, Ladd McConkey, who only had his first catch in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah,
I was hoping to see more targets to McConkey. We didn't really get to see him. I wanted to see how he did creating off the line of scrimmage. We didn't get to see that much. So that kind of sucks, but I don't know if it's a luxury pick. They still, like, outside of AJ Brown and Devonta, you got nothing, man. You got absolutely. We saw it in the playoffs. I know one guy Stalin is keeping an eye on is J.C. Latham. I don't see him getting past the Bengals. J.C. Latham is a stud, man.
Yeah, I don't see him falling
top 15. Yeah, I'm really high on J.C. Latham. He might be even higher than top 15. I don't have my big board on me, but He's an incredible talent. He's my number 3 tackle in this draft.
Yeah.
So yeah, we covered a bunch of guys. Davis White Jr. looks like an Eagles player to me. Yeah, I say we wrap it up. Does that sound good? I think we're 30 minutes in here.
Yeah.
It was a fun Saturday. Not as offensive.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a little disappointing if you were looking for a nice like all-star game type high scorer, but
Yeah.
We did see some players make some plays, and I think we need to kind of reevaluate certain rankings, certain things, but
Yeah.
all in all, great Saturday, great Senior Bowl, and
Yep.
hopefully we'll be down there next year.
Yep, chugging along, man. Getting ready for the combine in a few weeks. Rudy Poo says it's not it's a luxury pick because Jalen struggles to spread the ball, but we have a new coordinator, man. This offense could be very different in 2024.
Yeah.
Plugs real quick. I will be dropping. I have my top 10 winners of the Senior Bowl dropping right after this with highlight reels and all that kind of stuff. Everything you need to know about the biggest standouts, especially from an Eagles perspective. So go check that out. A lot of defense. So be on the lookout for that. I'll probably, since it's 4:30, I'll probably drop it at like 5:30. I think I'll premiere it at 5:30. But Ryan, plugs, final thoughts.
Yeah. Again, great week. Wish we could have been down there, but we'll get down there. Yeah, I know, right?
So bad.
Yeah, right. They were. But we'll plan on being down there next year. But yeah, this is always a fun week. Great kicking stuff off. As far as the rest of the week goes, we have a fun week. Football Smack Talk show at 6:00 on Monday. Party on Broad at 9 on Monday. Tuesday, we're doing our recap of our preseason.
Oh my God, I can't wait for that, man.
Predictions. So yeah, that's always one of the most fun shows that we have. So that's Tuesday at 8 for Birds of the Round Table. So stay tuned to Edge of Philly Sports. Click the like button, subscribe, put on the automatic notifications, especially if you're going to want to see what he's about to put out. Get yourself some knowledge in you and look at his draft stuff for sure.
Tomorrow, I'm dropping 9 tight end reports.
Let's
Ryan,
go.
excited for that. So Theo Johnson.
Nice.
There's a bunch of dudes that played in this. Theo Johnson, Brevin Spanford.
Yeah.
I'm probably missing a few, but they're all going to be covered and eventually compiled into my tight end video. So tight ends, I was planning on doing it today, but then the Senior Bowl happened and I forgot. And there are also shorts of the top plays from today's game on the channel. So if you want to check that out, go check out our shorts channel. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching. One more time, he is Ryan Reis at Philly Sports PSA. Go check out Philly Sports Alliance, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Deibs, Mr. Crockpot. For Ryan, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.